from Seattle Coffee Gear, and today I've got our picks for 3 of the best semi-automatic espresso machines over $1,500 of 2022, plus an honorable mention. This year we're doing 3 different categories for these machines, plus the honorable mention, like I said. So we're gonna have our crowd pleaser pick, we're gonna have our top features pick, and then we're gonna have our ultimate pick for this category. So let's get started by looking at our crowd pleaser pick, and I'll walk you through them. So for our top crowd pleaser pick, we have the Diletta Bello. So this machine is gonna be the simplest of the machines we've got here today and probably the most approachable for you if you're either a new user starting with a more expensive machine or if you're upgrading from a lower cost machine. But just because it's the simplest does not mean that it's not just as capable as these other machines for creating great drinks. So this is gonna be an E61 group head machine, which is one of the reasons that we have it in this list and is one of the reasons it's so exciting. It's because this is gonna be one of the more affordable ways to get into an E61 group head. And what that is a heated group. So hot water is actually gonna rotate through this group head, and it's gonna keep the group head itself hot, and it's gonna keep the portafilter hot as well. This is gonna give you excellent temperature stability as the water runs from the boiler through the tubing into the group head and into your shot. So ultimately you wanna make sure that your shots are gonna have a consistent temperature so that the whole shot brews and tastes consistent through the shot, and having those heated parts is going to help achieve that. So that's one of our favorite things about this machine. We also really love how hands-on it is. So as you can see, there's not a lot of, there's no screens or anything on it. It's just got your pressure gauges here and your control knobs here. And it's gonna mean that you're gonna be able to get really, really hands-on with your espresso and really understand the process of brewing and get really good at it too. So you kind of get this sort of barista experience when you're using a machine like this with these tactile controls. It's also got a heat exchanger boiler in it, which means that there's the boiler that has the hot water, and then there's a tube running through the boiler that water's circulating through. And that's gonna give you on-demand steaming. So you're gonna be able to brew and steam at the same time because your steam circuit's gonna run through that heat exchanger pipe, and then you've got your brew boiler that's going to have the water coming out for your shot. So it can be really fun to work on this machine because you can get it going where you're steaming your milk, pulling your shot at the same time. They're both super consistent and really delicious. And then on top of all that, it's just a really beautiful machine with incredibly solid construction. So we think this is going to be a great machine for a really wide range of countertops. Anybody who wants to get into this range of espresso machine with this kind of tactile control is going to really love the Diletta Bello, and that's why we have it for our crowd pleaser pick for this category. So moving on to our top features pick, we have the Rancilio Silvia Pro X. So if you're familiar with the Rancilio Silvia, it is a really, really popular kind of hobbyist espresso machine. It's a really great option for you if you wanted to get hands-on, sort of like we talked about with the Bello, with your espresso at a little bit lower price point. And the Silvia is still a good machine, but it can be a little bit challenging to manage the temperatures in it. It's sort of the thing that it's a little bit notorious for. And for some people, that represents a really fun challenge. And once you get into using it, then you can pull really great shots, and it's a pretty affordable machine with really solid construction. However, they've also introduced this Silvia Pro X, which is a higher cost model, but it has a PID control temperature for the brew boiler in it. So you're going to be able to get more consistent temperatures than you would get with the lower cost Silvia model. You can also see that it's just a much bigger unit. It also has a separate steam boiler in it so that you're gonna be able to do both of those things at the same time. And then it has a lot more programming and control options for controlling temperatures, getting a shot timer, and all those kinds of things. You've got your hot water spout here, you've got your steam wand, and it's generally just a very feature-rich machine that has a lot of programming and control options for you while maintaining that kind of commercial styling that Rancilio has with the Silvia as well. So this is going to be a really good option for anybody who already really loves their Silvia or who is looking for a machine that is going to kind of give you a lot of those features and control options, but maybe isn't going to be all the way up into the price range that we'll talk about with something like the R58 or even more expensive machines. So this is the one that I would definitely recommend for someone who's a little bit more hobbyist or wants to get into their espresso in sort of that more hands-on in from the programming perspective way rather than just understanding it from a tactile perspective like you get with the Bello. So for our ultimate pick, we've got the Rocket R58 Cinquantotto espresso machine. This is a monster of a machine. It's a really cool machine. It's kind of combining a lot of what we're talking about with both of these machines. So you get this super tactile hands-on control that you would get with something like the Bello. As you can see, it's a similar E61 group head to the Bello, so all of those ideas are at play here as well. So it's got excellent temperature stability. It is PID controlled and dual boiler, sort of similar to the Rancilio. It's gonna have all of those things, but then you also get this detachable PID controlling device that is going to give you feedback about what's going on inside of the machine, and it's also going to allow you to make programming changes here. It's also going to give you the ability to set an auto on time for this machine, which is really nice. It's something that a lot of users are looking for, because with these larger dual boiler machines, there is some warm-up time. So you can't just flip them on and get brewing in seconds necessarily, but with an auto on timer like this, that means that you can kick it on in the morning, give it its 20-30 minute warm-up time. The conditions in the room are going to determine a lot about how much time it's going to take to warm up. So those can just be estimates. But otherwise, you're going to get a shot timer on this as well, similar to what you're seeing on the Pro X, and just a ton of feedback between gauges and the screen and your timer, and tons of control with how tactile and easy to use these controls and levers are. And it's just gonna allow you to make some of the best espresso you can possibly make at home. I mean, we're talking like, this is absolutely commercial level design and components for your home. So it's not necessarily going to be a great fit in a commercial environment, but you're going to be able to get some of that sort of performance at home. You can in fact even plumb it in, because it uses a commercial style rotary pump inside. So you can plumb it into a water line and actually use it in that capacity as well. So this is going to be our ultimate pick for semi-automatic espresso machines over $1,500 for 2022. But then we also have here our honorable mention. So this package is called the Breville Dynamic Duo. That's what we've called it. And it's going to be a Breville dual boiler that's packaged with a Breville Smart Grinder Pro. So if you're not familiar with these machines, the dual boiler is an incredibly feature-rich espresso machine that offers really solid value, especially in a package like this that's paired with the grinder. So for all of these machines, you're gonna need an espresso grinder in order to use them. They don't have grinders built in, obviously, and you're probably going to want a fairly nice and consistent and frankly expensive espresso grinder to get the most out of these machines, because grind consistency is sort of the other half of the brewing process as opposed to temperature consistency. So what's nice about this package is, if you are new to espresso, if you don't want to go with something like a Breville Barista Express or a Solus Barista Perfetta with a grinder purchased separately, and you want to go a little bit bigger, this kind of package is going to be perfect for you. So this dual boiler is not going to give you quite the same performance that you're going to get out of these more expensive machines, but it's probably going to be good enough for a lot of users. We really love this machine because of that value that it represents, and because it has a lot of programming features and a lot of really useful tools to help you get brewing pretty high quality shots at home. It's not necessarily going to have the same degree of, performance and frankly production that you're going to see in something like one of these hand-built machines. The casing is not quite as fancy and the like, but it's going to give you really consistent and really good shots, and it comes with this grinder. So if you're just getting started, this may end up being a grinder that you want to upgrade at some point. We would generally refer to it as a pretty entry-level espresso grinder, but that doesn't mean that it's not capable, and it's a really good pairing with this machine. So we wanted to make this honorable mention because while it doesn't quite knock our socks off like these other machines for these categories, it's still a really great option for you if you're looking to get into espresso at this level that's a little bit higher than something like those other machines that I talked about. So I hope this was helpful for you. We structured these so that you can take this information and maybe make an easier purchasing decision when you're looking at these machines, rather than just saying, here's 3 good ones. So if you did like this video and you like this kind of educational content and you like learning about espresso machines and different kinds of recipes and the like, be sure to get subscribed to our newsletter that we've got linked below. You're also going to find out about all of our sales right away if you're signed up for that newsletter. And if you did like this video, be sure to hit the like button, drop a comment if you have any questions, and get subscribed for more of our top machine videos of 2022. Thanks.